and we're here at Canada at the Montreal racetrack. Joining me here in the commentary box this evening, we have Jar. Good evening, Jar.
Hi, it's Jarve Lou, but oh well. Anyway, this is going to be interesting, the first race of the season in Canada. So we shall see if these guys are pretty fast. After all, Willem Mare won in X1 this evening so far. So we shall see if the other new drivers can catch them up.
Yes, it will be interesting to see that. It's been we've had 2 races already this weekend at this racetrack, with the Talk of the Devil League yesterday and the Xtreme 1 race earlier on this evening, and 2 very interesting races there. A lot of action going on in both races. I think we are just about starting.
Yep.
So 15 drivers from the looks of it are in the race.
All I'm
So
asking is,
I'm
are
not
we
sure.
skipping Q1?
That's what I was just about to ask you. I think we might be skipping Q1 and going straight into Q2, which would therefore, because we've only got 15 in the race, so it would shorten qualifying down a little while. But let's see. I'm not quite sure what is going to happen here.
Yes. Are we skipping Q1, by the way? Yep, fair enough.
Yeah, that's fine. We can have a bit of a fun Q1 here at this Montreal circuit. So let's see who's going to be the first car to go out. So everyone will probably complete this session on the soft tyres.
Yep.
And just waiting for the first car to go out. What are your predictions for this race, NGR Baloo?
Willem Mare seems really fast. Other drivers that have raced in X1 are M7 Maverick, JP Fresh Pengu, which is Thomas Edwards, and Kenzie Retro, as you know, is the commentator for our X1 and did a part of our Talk of the Devil League this week. As a Haas of Worthiest Mile, who is Ricard Lindquist, is the first one to come out, alongside the Williams of Kenzie.
Yes, so we got Kenzie and, like I said, the Haas out very early on. Kenzie, my former co-commentator in Talk of the Devil last season, so I will be particularly interested to see how he gets on in here.
As Racing Point of Swifty Pickle, Neil as his first name, and Willem are going out for the outlaps as well.
Excellent, so they're all starting to pour out the pits now. So let's see what kind of lap time. The lap times we saw in earlier, the quickest lap times I saw in Q2 earlier on. So it was a bit of a rain affected session, but I saw 1:08 at one point.
Yeah,
which was incredibly fast around here. So that could be a good benchmark for the drivers to aim for.
As Ricard goes for his first flying lap, and also Kenzie goes for his first flying lap as well.
Yes, I'm watching Kenzie at the moment in the Williams.
Yep.
I don't actually think I've ever actually seen Kenzie race. So, like I said, I co-commentated with him last season through the majority of the league. So it'll be interesting to watch him. go on.
Yep.
We've got Kenzie and Peggy. I'm trying to see what his actual name is. Thomas Edwards in the McLaren, also out on quick laps. We've got Kieran out as well in the Renault.
As Ricard goes for the DRS on the main back straight. It'll be interesting to see what his time is. So goes through the chicane. And it is a 1 minute 10.5. Decent lap.
That's a good lap there by the Haas. That's a very good lap. Kenzie just about to cross the line as well in the Williams as he straight lines through the glass corner, and he doesn't set a lap time. Not quite sure why. He was definitely on an out lap.
I think his lap was invalidated
lap,
there. I think it was his lap was invalidated. But
so here comes Kieran in the Renault. He is about to cross the line as well. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. Kieran goes third on a 1 minute 12.1. The other Renault of Joe is just about to start his lap as well. Sorry, the McLaren of Joe just about to start his lap as well. We got Swifty Pickle in the Racing Point, who is Neil. He's just gone into 5th place on a 1:11.4. So there's a few drivers. There's a Red Bull off.
Fori has just
a Red Bull off.
The fastest lap.
And then he immediately ran off the racetrack. Yes, that's Rian there, Fori in the Red Bull, and he set the pace and then immediately went off into turn 1. So pushing extremely hard even on his second flying lap. So, but he set a good lap time, a good benchmark to go for. Kenzie's just about to set his second lap, and he's cut the final chicane. I'm not sure if they'll allow that lap either. But let's have a look as Kenzie crosses the line. And no, they disallowed that lap as well. So Fraser not having the best start to the season so far, as here comes the McLaren of Thomas. And he also doesn't set a lap time. So I think the strict corner cutting is really catching a few people out at the moment.
Shashmia's gone off the track. He'll be fine now. There's no wing damage on him whatsoever.
So fastest at the moment is Rian in the Red Bull with 1 minute 9.9. We've got Willem second. And then it's Worthy Ismail, who's Ricard in the Haas. He is currently third, followed by the Alfa Romeo of Pete in 4th place. But everyone here in this first part qualifying is going to make it through, because there's only 15 in the running.
Yep. As Bryce Faulkner is going out for his first out lap. They haven't set a time yet, so we shall see if he matches Fori or Willem. Interestingly, Willem is about 3/10 behind Fori, but of course this is the first part of qualifying, so people are not going to turn up their engines yet.
Yes, and of course with the guarantee that everyone is making it through, that they're not probably pushing it quite as hard as they will do in the next part of qualifying, when we lose the bottom 5. There's a yellow flag in the first couple of sectors. I'm not quite sure who's gone off. And another yellow flag in sector 3.
Yep,
I think it might be just the cars getting out of the way. I'm just having a look at cars who haven't set a lap time yet. Fraser has had a couple of laps disallowed. He's coming through to complete another lap in the Williams. This is his 3rd lap for Fraser, and he hasn't set a lap time this time, and he goes 11th at 1 minute 12.4.
As Bryce Faulkner goes for his lap, of course going through the second chicane, then coming down towards the hairpin, and then onto the back straight after that as well.
Yeah, slow hairpin there, 45 miles an hour there, first gear, and then you climb up. I'm going to ride on board with him now. climb up to well over 200 miles an hour. Some of the top cars are making 210 miles an hour down this back straight. Then hard on the brakes, down into fourth gear, 112 miles an hour, take the apex for the final chicane, and back onto the pit straight once again. And he goes fourth on a 1 minute 10.7. That's a very good lap time there in that Toro Rosso. There's only one car yet to set a lap time, and that is the Alfa Romeo of Andy. I think he's on a lap as we speak. Yes, we're on board with him now. Coming down the back straight, the second DRS zone here, into the second chicane. It's very difficult here. 80 miles an hour, easy to run very, very wide there. But if you catch the curve, you will spin out on the inside there. Then down towards the hairpin once again. About 185 miles an hour on the straight first, and down to 40 miles an hour for the hairpin. And then as smooth as you can, but as hard as you can, onto the power. Coming down this long back straight, one of the longest straights in Formula 1, I believe, as well. As you head up towards 205 miles an hour into the final chicane.
Oh no!
And he's in the pit, so he's not actually setting a lap time. So I'm not quite sure what's happened there.
I mean, of course, everyone is going to go through the first part of qualifying, so I don't think he's going to set a lap time because I don't think there's any point for him. But anyway,
yeah. Maybe just see where the car's at or how the setup's going. See how the setup is and see how the car's behaving. As the Toro Rosso is setting another lap but doesn't improve, stays on a 1 minute 10.7. 8 minutes of the first part of qualifying to go. So, fastest lap so far is Fori in the Red Bull on a 1 minute 9.9. Williams second. We got the Haas in third place on a 1 minute 10.5. Then we got the Toro Rosso fourth, the Alfa Romeo fifth, and then in sixth place is Hubert in the Ferrari.
Eighth place is Neil, and ninth place is David Edgar. 10th is Jarvis. And 11th is Mr. Tree, 12th place Literal Pepper, 13th Kenzie, 14th Thomas Edwards, and 15th is Super Shippy, who hasn't set a lap time yet. But of course, he's going out for his out lap now.
He's coming back in. Yes, he's coming back into the pits. The Toro Rosso is also out. He's done 3 laps now on these soft tyres. What I have found is those soft tyres do tend to fade after a lap or two. But he's still going. But also a good, again, as everyone is guaranteed to go through to Q2, it's a good chance for them to test these tyres, see how much they can push them and for how long they will last.
Yep, just saying there, Ricard in the Haas did have a broken front wing, so of course he had to go inside the pits.
So I think the other car also out is Kieran in the Renault, who's currently 12th. He's on a 1 minute 12.1. He's found a few tenths, but it will get him up. Mr. Shmee is Johnny in the Haas. He is currently just ahead of him, and Kieran doesn't quite improve. He remains in 12th position, and the Alfa Romeo of Andy is back out on track. He's the only driver yet to set a lap time. Everyone else has set a lap time, but so far Andy hasn't in the Alfa Romeo, and I think he's just about, I think he's on his out lap in that Alfa.
Oh, I think his lap was invalidated. Yep, he caught the chicane, the final chicane. Of course, that chicane is really notorious for the strict corner cutting, for being one of the worst places to get invalidated in lap time in the whole F1 calendar in the F1 game as well. So it's really, really difficult. As we saw for the X1 race, there were literally every single driver got penalties. So it'll be interesting how these X2 drivers go around this track.
Yeah, it's a very difficult chicane anyway. So you catch the curb slightly wrong, you spat straight into the wall of champions. And but if you don't attack it enough, you'll lose at least half a second in that chicane. Sometimes it's one of those chicanes you've got to push hard. As Hubert in the Ferrari goes fastest on a 1 minute 9.5, so that's a very good lap time in the Ferrari. So Andy, I think he's going again. Let's see what he can do. Just under 4 minutes of this session to go. Hubert is fastest, followed by Ryan in the Red Bull, and Willem is third in the Mercedes. So, and again, he had another lap disallowed there, did Andy. So he still has not set a lap time. I think he might try and see if he can go again. Ron Baldwin into this. It's very tricky. It's a fast chicane there, but it's very, very easy to get it completely wrong. And again, the walls are there waiting for you. Mainly street track here, of course. So the walls are there ready and waiting for you. It's not like a lot of these modern tracks with the long, big runoff areas with tarmac. The walls are literally inches away from the racing line at times. It's very, very easy to just go a little bit wide and lose a wheel. Another yellow flag in sector 1. Down into the hairpin. 40 miles an hour. And he's overdone it. He's got a bit too much power on the exit, and he's off. So that is the end of his qualifying session, I believe.
With over 2 minutes to go, Jarvis is trying to set that time as well. Probably just 3 laps on the softs, just practicing the track as much as possibly can.
So yes, 2 minutes to go of this session. Minute and a half to go. We got the Ferrari here. Red Bull of Rian going on for another lap. He's already through, but he's obviously wanting to just see how fast he can go in that Red Bull. As he crosses the line, he remains on a 1 minute 9.9. So he's currently second.
Yep, as Melbourne Rogers, Joe Pelly goes for his flying lap. Of course, going down to the hairpin. 40 miles per hour in the middle of that hairpin and trying to get the most power out of that exit onto the main back straight. The RS activated.
And Andy's just left the pits again in the Alfa Romeo. I don't think he's going to have quite enough time to get round and do a lap. He's going to have to absolutely go flat out all the way around, maybe even cut a corner or two to actually get round in time, because he's only got 40 seconds and he's only on the back straight here, so that's going to be very tight for him as to whether or not he can actually make it through. We've got a Haas going slowly down the back straight. I think he's getting ready for his lap. That is Johnny there, Mr. Schmee. So he's starting his lap. I'm just keeping an eye on Andy to see if he can actually get round and start his lap before the time runs out. He's got 10 seconds and he's just coming up towards the final chicane. It's going to be very, very close. And no, he isn't. He isn't quite going to make it. The timer has run out. So Mr. Schmee, Andy's not going to set a lap time, but he is, of course, guaranteed to go through to Q2 anyway, only having 15 runners here. So we've got a couple of cars still on track. We've got McLaren stopped down the back straight. I'm not quite sure. Now we got Johnny stopped as well. There's a couple of cars, I think, on quick laps. We've got the Toro Rosso out there of Bryce. He's on another lap. Can he improve? Exactly a 10th will move him up to 4th. He's currently 5th in that Toro Rosso. So a good effort again from that Toro Rosso. And we've got Jarvis out in the Mercedes. And he's pitting. So let's have a look. This is the first look that I'm seeing anyway of Jarvis. He's finished. No, he has started his lap. He has just about started his flying lap. So let's see, he's 4/10 up in the first sector. That's a cracking first sector.
Yep, and Willem Murray's
in the
also
hairpin coming
front
onto
as
the
well.
back straight. And that's it, everyone has finished. So the final order, Hubert fastest on a 195. Then we had the Red Bull of Riyadh in second, William third, and we've got the Haas in 4th place of Ricard. And Jarvis finished in 8th place in the Mercedes there. So a little bit of a dead rubber that first part of qualifying, because no, we don't lose anyone, but it's a good indication now of who seems to be very quick.
Yep, as Huber goes fastest, Rian Foray goes second, and Willem Murray goes third. Both all of those people are in the 1-9s. Huber, Rian Foray, and Willem Murray.
Yeah, they're comfortably quicker than the rest of the field as well. So could that be the pattern we're looking for the rest of the session? As we enter Q2, this is where it gets a little bit more serious here. We lose the slowest 5 at the end of this session. And also, any cars who qualify in the top 10, they will have to start the race on the tyres they qualify on in this session. So a little bit more serious here. First session, we didn't lose anyone. But here in this second session, we will lose 5 cars.
As the McLaren goes out first, out of the pit lane. And that McLaren is Thomas Edwards. Thomas Edwards is now going for his outlap on the soft tyre. We've also got the Mercedes of Jarvis and the other Mercedes of Willem Murray. Mackenzie Retro behind Thomas Edwards and
So we got Kenzie going out now in the Williams. So we saw him do a couple of disqualified laps in the first session. Can he keep it clean this time?
Yep, as Thomas Edwards goes for his flying lap.
And as does Kenzie too. So we've got a few cars on their outlaps.
Yep, and we also got a few cars on the medium tyre. Ricard in the Haas, Rian Foray in the Foray, Mr. Schmid, Jarvis, Joe Pelly, and Huber, all the mediums.
So an interesting split of strategies immediately there. They're all doing something a little bit different. For 50% race, of course, so those medium tyres will go quite a long way into the race. And will probably end up being a one stop as well, I would have thought, on those mediums. If they start the race on the mediums, the the soft tyres, you'll probably end up having to do 2 stops.
Yep. Unless you can stretch out the softs and stretch out the hards, then you can be able to do a one stop, but that is very, very unlucky.
Yes, but I am also hearing as well that it could possibly be a wet race as well. So if it is a wet race, it doesn't matter what tyres they qualify on here, because if it is a wet race, they get free choice of tyres. Obviously, they'll be starting on the intermediates or the wets, depending on how wet it is. That's the information that I've been given.
Yeah,
so that would throw the cat amongst the pigeons if it's a wet race at the start. Certainly at the start, anyway. Down into turn 1, which is in many incidents over the years, and if it's wet in there, it's going to very much sort of mental the boys in there. I haven't done a race for a while around here in the wet. I don't know about you, Jar, but Canada in the wet is going to be very exciting, I reckon.
Yep, I've just been disconnected, so I can't watch the race right now. I'm joining back in the session right now.
And there's a Williams, it's a Kenzie and one of the Alfa Romeos very close down the pit straight. Kenzie doesn't set a lap time, the Alfa Romeo does. I think they were both on a flying lap and had a lot of slipstream, and they tried to overtake and ended up going side by side through the final chicane. That was they both did extremely well to avoid an accident now, I've got to say. But well, that was very close. So fastest at the moment is Willem. He's gone, the only driver at the moment into the 1 minute 9s. He's on 1 minute 9.8. Second place we've got Hubert on a 1:10.2, but he's on the medium tyres. In third place is Bryce in the Toro Rosso on a 1:10.6. He's on the softs. Then fourth is the Haas of Ricard. Fifth is the McLaren of Malbert, Joe, whichever he likes to be called. He's in fifth place at the moment on a 1:11.2. In sixth is Pete in the Alfa Romeo. Seventh is Jarvis in the Mercedes. In eighth is Kieran in the Renault. And in ninth at the moment is Thomas in the second McLaren's. Kenzie goes ninth. So Kenzie's gone ninth in the Williams. And in 10th place is the McLaren of Thomas. There are 5 cars yet to set a lap time. So let's have a look here. We're still watching Kenzie. Let's see if we can find someone else on a lap time. Here is the Haas of Johnny. He's yet to set a lap time, and he's had a little bit of oversteer coming out of the hairpin. So here is the Haas coming into the final chicane. and he hasn't set a lap time. They must also disallowed that lap as well. So a few drivers being caught out here with this strict corner cutting.
Yep, and if these drivers are smart, it is a race, so there is no need to set lap times on the medium tyre if everyone's going to start on wet tyres.
No, I don't know if any of the drivers actually know that. I think the Haas of Ricard has realised actually he's gone onto a set of soft tyres now. So at the moment in the drop zone, we've got Rian, who's yet to set a lap time. Likewise also Neil in the Racing Point. We've got Andy in the Alfa Romeo. We have Johnny in the Haas, and we have Fraser in the Williams. Someone else has just jumped up there now. So yes, Andy's gone 7th in the Alfa Romeo. So we've got 3 cars yet to set a lap time, and then we have the McLaren of Thomas and Fraser in the Williams. Those who have set a lap time are currently 11th and 12th. And then we also have Johnny and Neil and Rian yet to set a lap time.
Yep, and strangely, lap times are slower.
Oh, Rian's
than
gone
Q1.
5th. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, that's fine.
Rian's gone 5th in the Haas, so that's brought him out of the drop zone. And we're currently looking at Johnny in the Haas, who is on his quick lap. He's done 3 laps on these medium tyres. Again, like you were saying earlier, it's a wet race, so they don't need to necessarily be on the medium tyres, but he might feel he can get through on those anyway in that Haas. But he's done 3 laps on them already, so they must have obviously all been disallowed. Neil just starting his quick lap as well in the Racing Point. And Johnny's slowing down, so he's not going to set a quick lap here. So just switching over now to Neil in the Racing Point. He's on his quick lap now, and he's run wide at the tight chicane. I think that's the second chicane on the lap, and he's run very wide and he's slowing right down. So he also doesn't look like he's going to set a lap. So now I'm looking at Pete in the Alfa Romeo. Can he improve? He's currently just on the bubble. He's in 10th place, a 1 minute 11.6. He's quite a lot clear of the rest of the field, but can he move himself up? He only needs to improve by a couple of tenths. It will move him ahead of his teammate Andy, who's currently sitting in 9th place. A lot of traffic here. He passes the Racing Point. There's also a McLaren just ahead of him. If he can get past him as well, actually might actually help him here. We'll get a nice toe down this back straight. As a Renault there going slowly as well.
Yep, the toe does really do well. Look, he's catching up very, very fast towards Thomas Edwards on the McLaren. As Thomas, oh no!
Oh, there's contact! There's contact! The McLaren did get out of his way, and well, he rather smartly there jumped straight into the pits. But there was contact there, definitely. The McLaren didn't get out of his way at all. And oh, there's more contact. That's one of the Force Indias and the McLaren. That is, again, Joe and Neil that have come into contact there down into turn 1. So the McLaren really getting in the way of a few cars. So that's ruined their lap. Neil set a 1:33.8. Of course, we saw him going slowly because he made a mistake in the middle of the lap. So now I'm looking at Kieran in the Renault. He's sitting in 11th place. He needs to find quite a lot. He needs to find about 3/4 of a second to move up. He is sat in 11th place at the moment, but brand new set of soft tyres.
Yep. And smartly, everyone has gone on soft tyres except for Johnny Davis in the Haas.
Yes, in the Haas, and he's been out on those quite a long time now. And there's a Renault spun in the pit straight.
Well, it's with
The Renault has spun down the pit straight. He's left the session now, so looks like he's going to qualify in 11th. And the Haas is pitting. He might have to do. That's Johnny there on the medium tyres. He might have to do a racing style pit stop here to get himself in and out again before the end of the session.
Yep, the bottom 5 are Mr. Shmee, Johnny Davis, the Swifty Pickle of Neil, Fraser McKenzie, Thomas Edwards, Kieran Knight, and in the bubble is Pete Poloni, who is right now setting it on his outlap.
Looking at the Haas right now of Rickard. He's 5th but on another lap. He's currently done a 1 minute 10.6, which I think should just about see him through, I would have thought. But he's feeling the need to go again.
Yep, as Kieran Knight has technical issues. His Xbox has gone turned off himself. So I don't think he is going to make the top 10. Oh, and Malbert Rogers has been disqualified from the session for blocking the pit lane.
They're not quite sure what's happened there.
Oh my gosh, there is oh my gosh. There is a lot of action going around with the Alfa Romeo of Super Shippy, Neil, and I think it was Thomas Edwards.
Yes, a lot of cars have come out at the same time, and this is what happens. Especially in a short racetrack like this, it's only, about 70, 80 seconds a lap. Not even that, about 70, 75 seconds a lap. It's they all can bunch up very quickly, and they're all fighting for the same piece of time. And there's there's nearly contact there. That was a Racing Point. I think it's called Force India. Racing Point and the McLaren nearly coming to blows at the 3rd chicane there down the end of the back straight after the second DRS zone, as Rian goes fastest on a 1.93. So
yep, great lap time from
him.
Statement
out there. Yeah,
great
that's
lap
really put a statement out there to the rest of the field. But they're all so close together here. They're all trying to find a bit of space, but still make sure they've got enough time to actually get a lap in. We're down to the last 15 seconds. We have. Yep. I'm just watching the McLaren of Thomas Edwards. He's just started his lap. And Fraser McKenzie also is on a lap as well.
Thomas goes wide on the first corner. If any of the bottom 4 beat Kieran Knight's lap time, he will still qualify to the top 10, as Margaret Rogers has been disqualified from the session. He will be starting from last place for blocking the pit lane.
So a big development there.
Yep, as Fraser McKenzie goes along the back straight through to the last chicane. Will he get his lap invalidated like he did in Q1? No, he doesn't, and he just misses the World Champions. Now going across the line.
He was very, very close to that. Fraser goes 10th. He has done it.
Oh.
And he gets knocked out immediately. He gets knocked out immediately there by Mr. Shmee. He goes 9th. And Fraser, well, he was 12th. He's gone up into 10th, and then he's immediately been knocked back down again. And, that's the... and Peter's gone 7th. So, wow, some real action there in the last couple of laps. So, the bottom 5 there are Neil in the Force India. He finishes 11th. Fraser finishes 12th. He got a good lap in, but it wasn't quite enough to get him out of the drop zone. Yep. Kieran in the Renault is also out, as well as Thomas in the McLaren. In fact, both McLarens out, because of course Malbert got disqualified. So those are the bottom 5. So the top 10 that make it through to the final top 10 shootout is Fori in the Red Bull, Willem in the Mercedes, the Toro Rosso there of Bryce. We've got Hubert in the Ferrari. We've got the Haas of Ricard, Jarvis in the Mercedes, Pete in the Alfa Romeo also makes it through. And this will be a very, very tight final part qualifying. Take pole position.
Yep, who are the favourites for pole today?
So first ever Xtreme 2 Quali 3. 12 minutes of this session. We've got a Haas going out, sorry, a Red Bull going out immediately.
Ryan Fore goes out for his first out lap of Q3.
Yes, he's the first guy to go out in Q3. So let's see who else is going to join him out on the track very, very early.
Yep, the two Mercedes and the Ferrari of Huber have gone out on track. Jarvis being the one behind Willem Mare.
So, yes, Rian looks like he could be one of the quickest drivers here. He's been quickest in the first 2 sessions so far. Can he keep that going and take pole position?
Yep.
In that Red Bull? It'd be a cracking start to the Xtreme 2 league for him.
Yep, and weirdly, Willem Mare is out on medium tyres in Q3. I don't know what he's trying to do, but we shall see.
That's a very interesting decision there. That's a weird one. That is. That's throwing me a little bit, because you would think he would go straight onto the soft tyres for this part of qualifying. But here is Rian in the Red Bull. I'm going to watch his lap now as he comes tearing down towards turn 1, about 80 miles an hour on the apex of turn 1. In turn 2, 45 miles an hour. Let it run a little bit wide on the exit, over the crest. Then we've got the first of these chicanes on the track, about 105 miles an hour, fast chicane. Then you flick left, then long right hand, about 180 miles an hour, brake for the next tight chicane, about 65 miles an hour in the first part, 95 on the apex of the second. Back straight, second DRS zone of the lap. Long straight, about 200 miles an hour with the DRS there, unbelievably, into this another third tight chicane on the lap. Back straight once again up to about 190 miles an hour. Brake hard, down to 45 miles an hour here for the apex of the hairpin. Onto the back straight, the third DRS zone of the track. You see speeds of about 210, 215 miles an hour, depending on the setups and whether or not they can get a slipstream as well. But about 210 miles an hour into the final chicane, about 100 miles an hour in the apex of the first part. Over the line he's now coming, and he does a 1 minute 9.6. That's a good lap, only a tenth off what he did in Q2.
Yep, not a bad lap time at all. As Willem Mare.
As Hubert's coming across the line now.
Yep.
And he does a 1.99, and Jarvis goes third. So they're all starting to put some laps in now. I'm just trying to find the next one.
Willem Mare goes
Johnny
1 minute 9.8 with medium tyre. This is interesting, because if he can keep up with that pace with the soft tyre, he will probably get pole position.
Well, yes, definitely. I mean, that's a stunning lap on the medium tyres. A 1 minute 9.8 is less than 2/10 off pole on the medium tyres. It's about a second a lap slower. That's an incredible lap time. As Johnny goes across the line, he goes 6th on 111.9, but he did run wide in the final chicane, and I think he just clipped the wall. Here we have the Toro Rosso of Bryce. He doesn't set a lap. He doesn't set a lap time in the end. Here is the Renault of David Edger, and he goes 7th on a 1 minute 10.9. So the only other car to set a lap or to cross the line at least is Andy. And of course Bryce's lap was disallowed. So Andy's not far away from setting lap. He's just entering the hairpin now. Took great apex speed in there. That's one of the best I've seen in there. Yellow flag in sector 2, might be a car slowing to get out of the way, but Andy's coming through to complete his first run here in Q3. Sort of looked all at sea in the first part of qualifying, but second part he really pulled it together. And here comes Andy as he crosses the line, and he goes 8th on a 1 minute 11.1. So now the only person we're waiting for to set a lap is Bryce in the Toro Rosso.
Oh, and he got pills into the pits. Not setting a lap time, which is interesting.
And Bryce is actually pitted.
Yep.
So, is anyone else going to complete their laps? Yes, Jarvis is doing another lap. Oh, he's cut the chicane there. But I'm not sure if they will disallow that lap or if they will allow it. They have disallowed the lap, so Jarvis doesn't quite settle a lap time. The Alfa Romeo now of Pete is in 6th position. He's coming through to complete another lap on the soft tyres.
Yep.
As he crosses the line, he doesn't improve. He remains in 6th.
Yep, and Super Shippy. Andy crosses the line. He doesn't improve in his time, as always, but I don't think he was setting an actual lap time there. Oh, and Bryce Faulkner peels out of the pits for his first out lap of the session. Not the first out lap, never mind, second out lap, since his first lap, I think, was invalidated.
Yes, I think he did cross the line. I saw him do a flying lap, but it might have been the final chicane once again.
Yep, the final chicane.
So,
the final chicane is a notorious place for strict corner settings, for being the place to be in place for invalidated lap times.
and a few guys actually staying out. I'm surprised at this. The Renault there of David Edgers going out for a few laps. He's on his third. He's done 3 laps already. So
that's very, very interesting. I think he's going to peel his pits now, but he is on hot lap mode, which means he's probably setting a lap time, but I have no idea. As Bryce Faulkner goes through the second corner, over the crest into the first chicane, very fast right left. Try to not cut the corners there, as he'll be invalidated lap time. Through the very, very slow second chicane, as for the second DRS zone of the lap. Going down into the hairpin for Bryce Faulkner. Around 45 miles per hour, 40 miles per hour. Get down on the power early, as much as you possibly can, through the third DRS zone. Now coming down to the final chicane, very fast, right, left. Again, looks like he has that invalidated lap time. Looks like he's going to be a good lap time. He crosses the line, and it is a 1 minute 10.5, which places him in 6th place.
it's a good lap there from the Toro Rosso. Very, very good lap there. Well, I'm looking at Johnny in the Haas. He's gone out on a brand new set of the soft tyres. Can he improve? He's currently 10th. I think he made a couple of errors in his lap. I think that's why he's down. There's quite a big gap between himself and Andy, who's just ahead of him in 9th place. Quite a big gap there. So can he improve on that? I think he probably can, judging by his pace earlier on in the sessions. But look at the traffic ahead of him. There's an Alpha and a Toro Rosso immediately ahead of him. He's run wide in the chicane. He'll just about get away with that. He'll lost a little bit of time. But he might be able to get, if the Toro Rosso can get out of his way, he might just get a good toe down the back straight. A little bit wide there. Didn't quite hit the apex. The Toro Rosso does move out of his way. He should just get the toe off the back of the Alfa Romeo. Same engine, of course, in the back of the Alfa as in the back of the Haas. So he should get a good toe down the back straight. And yeah, about 210 miles an hour into the chicane, making sure he gets the apexes right. And let's have a look.
He goes.
The line. And well, he didn't improve.
He didn't improve.
Remains 10th.
Yep, as Willem Mare crosses through the last chicane, goes across the line, and he goes fastest.
He goes fastest! What a lap!
With 1 minute
9.2. That's a stunning lap time. That is a brilliant lap time. We saw 1 minute 8.9s earlier on.
Yep, as Rian Flore goes out for his outlap as well.
And Jarvis is slowing down. I thought he was on a quick lap, but Jarvis is slowing down, so he's not. Well, he might just get one more lap in.
Yep, as Huber goes through the main pit straight and he crosses the line, doesn't improves on his lap time, but however, I think his lap was invalidated.
We're just looking now at the Haas here of Ricard. He's only got to improve by 12 thousandths of a second, and he'll go third. And he also doesn't improve. So Rian is also on his quick lap now as we speak. He's about to cross the line. Can he snatch pole position away from Willem?
No,
he does improve. He does a 1.94. He might just have enough fuel to do one more lap, but he stays second. He does improve though. Hubert is third in the Ferrari. So Willem is into the pits. Hubert is third in the Ferrari at the moment on a 1.99. Can he improve and take pole position or even a front row start?
Yep, as Hubert goes down on the back straight.
200 miles an hour, 205 miles an hour down this back straight, braking for the last chicane. Hard on the brakes, back on the power almost immediately. It's incredible the traction they have here. And he does improve, but remains third. He does improve his lap time as we've got an Alfa Romeo. Just trying to see if he's going slowly there. I think he is. The Alfa Romeo Pete.
Oh, and Ricard has retired from the session. He crashed into the World Champions.
And he was on his quick lap as well. And Jarvis is out of fuel. So I think this is it now. I think Johnny is the only car who can improve. Well, I'm watching him now.
He has to.
No, he's out of fuel as well. Johnny's out of fuel as well. We've got the other Haas in the wall. And, well, what an end to the session we had there. But Willem, as a result, takes pole position. A stunning lap time of 1 minute 9.2. With the Red Bull of Rian alongside him on the front row. Hubert third. And in fourth place is Ricard in the Haas. Despite that crash, he will start in fourth place. Fifth is Pete. Sixth is Jarvis. Seventh is Bryce in the Toro Rosso.
Crashes into the foam wall.
And we got another crash right at the end. We've got the Renault of David Edger in in 8th place. In 9th is Andy, and in 10th is Johnny. I'd look out for Johnny, I'd say, in the race. I think he's quicker than that. He seems to have just struggled in the last part of qualifying, especially with his teammate up there in 4th place. But that is the time. Willem, well, he wasn't that quick throughout qualifying, but he comes out with the fastest lap right at the end, a 1 minute 9.2. I think that's the fastest lap we've seen in the entire session.
Yep, it is. I think Ricard was pushing very, very hard and therefore has crashed into the World Champions. Sad, because he probably could have gone fast, at least like third or second, but with like a 10th behind Hubert. We shall see in the wet race in Montreal, Canada.
So we're here now at the Canadian Grand Prix, and it is raining. Canada is the country with the longest coastline in the world, and it hosts this evening's race. Long history in Formula One, Canada's got. It's been on the calendar since 1967. Only 3 racetracks have ever hosted the Canadian Grand Prix. We started at Mosport Park. We had a couple of seasons at Mont Tremblant, and then we moved to Montreal back in 1978. It's been on the calendar practically every year since then. Local hero Gilles Villeneuve won the initial race in 1978 at Montreal. He's one of 14 drivers from Canada to drive in Formula One. Only 3 of those, Gilles Villeneuve, Jacques Villeneuve, of course, his son, and Lance Stroll have scored points. And only the 2 Villeneuves have ever won races. And, of course, Jacques was the 1997 world champion. Looking at the circuit, it's 4.36 kilometres long, which is just over 2.7 miles. It's mostly street circuit. It's actually made up each year just before the race. 14 turns, 6 to the left and 8 to the right. Michael Schumacher is the most successful driver here at this racetrack with 7 wins in history. McLaren won the most races as a team, 13 wins for McLaren at this racetrack. One, of course, the most incredible race here, 4 hours long in 2011, won by Jenson Button. 3 DRS zones to look out for. We've got one along the pit straight. We've got one between turns 7 and 8, the back straight between the 2 chicanes, and then on the long back straight after the hairpin. And the lap record here to look out for, which could also be broken here this evening, is a 1 minute 13.622, which was set by Rubens Barrichello in the Ferrari back in 2004. One of the few racetracks that this new era of Formula One actually hasn't broken the lap record at. So it will be a very, very interesting race to watch, and especially with the rain. What's your predictions here, Gia?
I think that Willem will get a very, very good start, but the people who have the wet setups on will definitely have the advantage here. As Willem gets on pole, Rian Foray goes second, and Hubert is in third. Ricard goes fourth, as Pete Poloni in the Alfa Romeo goes fifth. As Jarvis goes sixth, and Bryce Faulkner goes seventh. David Edgar goes eighth, and Andy Shibashipi in the Alfa Romeo also again finishes in ninth. Johnny Davis couldn't make a fast lap time in Q3, starts 10th in the Haas. Neil in Swifty Pickle in the Racing Point starts 11th, with Fraser McKenzie in 12th place, Kieran Knight in 13th, Thomas Edwards in the McLaren, and Job Marlborough Rogers in the McLaren starts 15th for disqualified from session because of a pit lane accident. As yeah. And that rounds up for the grid.
I'm so looking forward to this. I'm delighted to be back in the commentary box here for this race, and a wet race as well always throws everything out the window. Anything you may think is going to happen in according to the dry qualifying.
Wet races throw big crashes. Hopefully we won't see, and hopefully we'll stay clean for the race. But I wouldn't be surprised if there were a few accidents in this race.
Yes, turn 1, big action zone there. We've had a few accidents there over the year. The one that sticks in my mind is Alex Wurz in 1998. Barrel rolled 3 times in turn 1 into the gravel trap. So there have been some big accidents here over the years. Of course, the same year we had 3 drivers going into the wall of champions. We had Frentzen backwards into the wall at high speed. We had Robert Kubica's massive crash in 2007. So this is the thing around here. The walls are so close to the track, as we said during qualifying. It's so easy to just get a wheel wrong, and that's it. You're head first into a wall.
We do have a problem with the lobby, however. Hours of Plague is a random person who isn't racing today. He needs to leave the lobby for racing reasons, as he is in the Ferrari, but I don't think he's going to be racing today. Yeah, which is good.
So hopefully the race is soon going to start.
Yep, hopefully Hours of Plague is going to clear out for the session.
Sometimes it does go loud, especially on a Sunday. So yes, I think the other driver is quitting the lobby as we speak.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll be up and running as soon as we can.
Yep. So Matt,
I'm also very pleased to see a lot of people. Sorry, go on.
Yes, who do you think is going to win the race today? Especially with Willem going around 4/10 faster in Q3.
Well, judging on the pace and qualifying, you've got to say it's got to be between Willem and Rian, the front two. They were quick all the way through qualifying, but again, as I said, the rain does throw it out there. So a car that might not be very good in the dry, sometimes is very good in the wet. It will just see who can get through the first few corners, I reckon. But I think it will be between those two to win the race, as long as they can avoid each other in turn one and everyone else, of course.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll be starting extremely soon. And it's also nice to see a lot of people watching us as well here this evening as well. I've seen up to 24 at one point watching me at one time.
Interesting. Well, it is the first race of the season. I'm pretty sure some of the races are looking forward to be mentioned in the live streams.
Yes.
We do need to have Hours of Plague need to leave the lobby before we can start this race. Sorry for the delay. I mean, all he has to do is just like quit the game and we can get this race going. It's been around 10 minutes. Oh, okay. Apparently, Hours of Plague is off his Xbox. Oh, he's left the session. We can start now. And of course, the drivers are having nerves for the first race of the season in the ret race. This will be very difficult for the drivers.
And here we go. Drivers are readying up.
Yep, here we go for the first race of the season.
And my heart's starting to go. I don't know about you. Here we go. We've got Willem on pole.
5 lights.
We've got the Red Bull alongside him. It's lights out and away we go. It's a great start by Willem. The Red Bulls also made a good start as they come down towards turn 1. Can Rian go around the outside? That'll be brave. And he's run a little bit wide, but Willem has retaken the lead. Well, Rian tried it there. He was very, very brave around the outside, but he just ran out of road. And Willem retaken the lead. Hubert's done well to hang on to third. He nearly went round the outside. As Ricard has also hung on to fourth in the Haas. They're being very, very cautious through the first few corners. But
And
Willem
Hubert's
is
sitting.
extending his lead
Andy
out
has
front.
spun round. Andy has spun round. From 9th on the grid, he has spun round.
That's unfortunate there for the Alfa Romeo. It looked like he'd made a good start. Meanwhile, up front, Rian is just about starting to come back, and Willem already here halfway through the lap. As we all trying to tiptoe through.
Yep.
Tiptoe through the.
Yep, great start for Kieran Knight. He makes up 4 places. He makes up 4 places from 13th on the grid. He makes up into 9th.
That's a great start there, and he's right behind his teammate as well now. The 2 Renaults running in 8th and 9th as they come down towards the end of the first lap. And Willem leads, and look at this, we've got Rian, followed by Hubert, followed by the Haas of Ricard. They're very, very close together as they come down towards the first corner at the end of the first lap. And Willem has a bit of a slide out of turn 1. The wet conditions really starting to catch him out.
Yep, Hubert's
Red Bull, Ferrari, Haas, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, very, very close together. And also hanging on well is Pete in the Alfa Romeo in 5th.
Yep. As Ricard oversteers a little bit into... Oh, and Pete oversteers a little bit as well.
Oh, I saw that, yes. He had a massive moment there in the middle of that right-hander. Just about collected it up and really, really well there to hold on to that. I thought that was going to be an end of the race for him, but he's just about hung on to it as Willem stretches his lead, and also Rian is doing very well to just about stretch his lead over Hubert in 3rd place. Ricard also dropping back a little bit in 4th.
As Pete Poloni is right at the gearbox of Ricard, 4 tenths behind him. He's now on overtake mode as he will try to overtake Ricard.
To complete their 2nd lap of 35. Of course, with it being a wet race, I don't know if these intermediates will quite last at the end. Fastest lap there from Rian as he starts to close the gap back down again. These possibly might last to the end on the inters. They might have to make one more stop as they come.
The race leaders left the session. Oh, that's sad.
Is there a problem for Willem's internet? Is there a technical issue here for Willem? As Rian is now going to just close straight up on the back of him into the chicane. I'm just trying to look at the gap, and at the moment the gap's staying pretty much the same. So I'm not sure he is losing that much ground at the moment. The gap is staying pretty much static. Hubert 3rd, in 4th place is Ricard, and in 5th is Pete in the Alfa Romeo. Jarvis is doing well in 6th. But it's all pretty much status quo, apart from Andy dropping down the field, because Kieran's dropped back a few places now. He was up in 9th, he's dropped back to 11. It's all pretty much status quo from the start.
Thomas Edwards has gained up 4 positions from his, as of course DRS is not enabled anymore as it is raining. However, Pete Poloni in the Alfa Romeo is 1 second behind him, as Rian Fore is actually catching up to Willem Mare. Sad for his internet connections. Oh, and Willem's joined back in the race. Hopefully he can get back into his car before Rian Fore.
That's perfect timing, really, because look at how close right now Rian is. It's absolutely perfect timing for him to be able to get back into his car. Looks like the technical issues have stopped there, but let's have a look. Willem leads from Rian, and Hubert's got a watching brief there in third place in the Ferrari. It's Mercedes from Red Bull from Ferrari. This is what we want to see. They're all so close together.
As Thomas Edwards overtakes Neil also for the racing point. Brilliant start from him, gains up 5 positions. The biggest losers here after 4 laps.
Oh, as the Red Bull, Rian runs extremely wide. I think he just lost his braking and had to swerve out of the way of the Mercedes. He runs very, very wide in the hairpin, just about avoided hitting Willem, but he's picked up a brilliant run out of the hairpin. They come down towards the chicane. Willem's having to go defensive as Rian is having a look at him and not quite enough straight line speed. He did run very, very wide and lose a lot of time there in the hairpin, but he did come back very quick as they come over the line to start lap 5. Half a second between Willem and Rian there. Hubert has now dropped to a couple of seconds further back. Ricard has still got Pete all over the back of him in 4th and 5th place, and another bit of a gap back to Jarvis, and then the Toro Rosso of Bryce is right behind him as well in 7th place. And then we've got the Renault of David running well in 8th place, and the McLaren, like you said, is moved up well. He's up into 9th in that McLaren, followed by Neil in the Racing Point in 10th. It does seem to be a thing here that Willem does seem to be better through the middle part of the lap. He just pulls that gap out a little bit over Rian, and then Rian seems to come back at him on the straight. I think could be the setup here.
Yeah, as Pete Poloni is right at the gearbox of Ricard. Goes, it's wheel-to-wheel racing down to the hairpin. Will Bismarck defend? Yes, he does, into the hairpin, round the outside as it's side by side once again. Oh no, as Pete Poloni gains the position. However, won't be a smile. Ricard tries to go for the overtake down to the chicane, and he goes for it, and it's and Bobby Small has spun. He has spun and gives the 5th place to Jarvis and 6th place to Bryce Faulkner.
Man, it's all happening here. This is what I said about the rain earlier on, but Willem doing a great job. Likewise, Rian in 2nd. These two are less than a second apart. Hubert now dropped to 4 seconds back in 3rd position, and the Alfa Romeo there in 4th is 3 seconds further behind that, but these two are putting on such a show out front. Let's have a look who else we can find down the field. We've got a good battle going on here between it's Johnny and Fraser for 13th position, just under a second between them. Fraser's taken a lot of curve there. He's going to struggle with traction on the exit. Indeed, he does have a big slide on the way out of the corner. They're battling over 13th position. The only other close battle on track now is Bryce in the Toro Rosso and Ricard in the Haas now, and he's dropped back to 7th.
Yep, there is a three-way battle for 5th place for Jarvis, Bryce Faulkner and Ricard.
That would be great to watch. I mean, do you reckon these Inters can go to the end, or do you reckon they are going to have to pit?
They will have to pit. The Inters go around for like the same lap time as the medium tyre on right conditions. So we shall see. Yep, 6th, 7th and 5th are really close together. It's a great 3-way fight for 5th place.
Yes, and it's absolutely great. And Willem's now stretching his lead out a little bit there over Rian, up to over a second. There's a penalty there. That's for Johnny in the Haas. He's got a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. You've got to say it's very easy to do though in these conditions. Just run a little bit wide, catch a white line, and he will just skip wide as Kieran and Johnny's actually losing positions. I think he's made a mistake somewhere. Yes, he spun at turn 1. Johnny has spun and he's lost 2 players. Oh, he nearly spins again there. So he's going to drop to last place as Andy's now going around the outside of him. So Johnny has slipped to last place. Another error from the Haas driver sees him go down to last. Willem leads by just over a second from Rian. These two are absolutely flying. Hubert is now 7 seconds already behind them in third place, and he's got Pete in the Alfa Romeo right behind him, less than a second down. Bit of a gap. That was Pete. It's a bit of a slide coming out of the chicane, as does the Toro Rosso there of Bryce. But Jarvis 5th, Bryce is 6th, and 7th is Ricard. These three are really close together as well, less than 2 seconds separating the three of them.
Very interesting. Yep, this will be very, very interesting. What? And Ricard spun. Ricard spun. He spun. He's now got front wing damage. He has to go peel back into the pits. Not a great start from him for the first 8 laps. Oh well.
It's it's very, very easy. Look at this. This is the battle here for 9th place. This is the racing point between Neil with Joe right behind him, almost wheel to wheel as they came through the first couple of corners.
Oh, Jarvis has spun.
And Jarvis has spun. There's another spin. There he is. There's the Mercedes. He's in the wall. Has he got any damage? I think he'll just about get away with that. But he's going to drop a long, long way. And there's another penalty. That is for the other McLaren of Thomas Edwards, who is currently down in 13th place. And I think he's actually... Yes, he's off as well. He's off as well. So it's all happening in the midfield as... yes, Thomas Edwards, I think he's got a little bit of front wing damage now as well. As the Haas goes back past him, Johnny goes back past up into 14th place. And we got a pitter. That is Ricard, of course, with the front wing damage in that Haas. He's pitted from 6th. All of this has actually meant that David Edger is up to 6th place in the Renault. He's sort of been very quiet, gone on with it, not done anything spectacular, but he's up into 6th. Great drive from him so far.
Yep.
And the top two still separated by just a second. What a race so far.
Yeah. It's very... Oh my gosh, there is a it's very, very heavy raining out there. It looks like it's about time for wet tyres, but maybe that's the reason why everyone's spinning. There is a lot of action going on here. And Super Shippy has spun round. He has hit Mr. Shmee, Johnny Davis. Yep, of course, as Super Shippy has now got a 3-place time penalty and a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings.
It's all happening in this field. They've all started well. Now it's all starting to go a little bit wrong for them in the middle of the race. But Willem, meanwhile, serenely out front by just over a second. And Rian tries he might, just cannot get close. There's a penalty there for David Edger in 6th place.
Yep. And the second and first fight, still we have Warriors under second for Villamaro. An amazing battle from these two. It's very, very sticky conditions out here. They've got to keep their car controlled. And as they go down towards the hairpin, it's still going to be Willem Mare in first place. And
Kieran gets a penalty. He's running in 11th as Fraser picks from 12th position. Could he be one to go onto the full wets? I'm just having a look as the McLaren behind him, Thomas Edwards, I think, are they going to go onto the full? Yes, they are. Yes, full wets going on to Fraser. So he's the first guy to make the plunge. He was running just outside the points anyway. But the rain is coming down. I don't blame him at all. Interestingly, though, behind him, Thomas Edwards has gone on to another set of inters. So he obviously is feeling that the track isn't quite wet enough yet for the full wets. But you've got to say, the way the rain is coming down, full wets is surely the only way to go. Willem has pitted. He's gone on to full wets as well. He's dropped to 4th. And
Bryce Faulkner is also pitting as well.
Also, Bryce is in. I think he's going to go onto full wets as well as David Edger. Yes, David Edger in the Renault, he's pitting. They're all starting to come in now. The full wets definitely seem like the way to go. He's gone to full wets as well in the Renault. Jarvis pitting in the Mercedes from 7th. So this could really hand the race to Willem if he can keep it on the track, because Rian Fori at the moment leads the race, but he's got the intermediate tyres on, and we think the rain is just going to carry on getting heavier and heavier and heavier.
Yeah, this will be interesting for Rian Fori. The Inters seem to be the worst tyre around here right now. The wets seem to be the best tyre as Kenzie Retro looks like he's going to get lapped by Rian Fori.
That'll be the interesting thing here. If Kenzie can keep ahead of Rian, then we know that the full wets are the way to go.
Oh, and there is a battle.
And Rian's carrying on.
Oh, and Kieran Knight has spun round. He has hit the racing point of Swifty Pickle, Neil. He has reset the track. Yeah, he has spun. I wouldn't be surprised if he has broken front wing damage.
But Rian Fori at the moment with a 10-second lead as a Hubert pits is going on to the full wet. So Willem is up to second because the Alfa Romeo of Pete has also pitted. So Rian Fori leads the race by 15 seconds now from Willem. They were on lap 12. Is this just... I'm not quite sure what the weather report was, whether it was just a passing window of heavy rain. But at the moment, from what I can see, if they can keep it on the racing line, the Inters should just about be sufficient. Is if you just run a little bit off the racing line and get onto the standing water there that's off the racing line. Kenzie runs extremely wide and he's on the full wets. But if you get onto the standing water that's either side of the racing line, I think that is when you're going to struggle and just skate wide or spin on the way out of the corner. So
yeah, if Rian Fori pits,
but you've got to say as well though, Willem is catching him extremely quickly.
Yeah,
15 seconds at the start of the lap. It's already down to 13, so 2 seconds gone already. But it's one of these now. I think he's
Rian Fori's
he's pitted. He's pitted.
Which means Willem Mare has been promoted back up to place. It will be interesting how far behind Rian Fori is to Willem Mare.
Well, he will have lost at least 3 or 4 seconds because Willem has been absolutely flying on these full wets. Been lapping so much because Willem retakes the lead. Let's have a look. There is Willem. There is, you can just see the Red Bull leaving the pit. And there is some 4.5 seconds, if not a little bit more between them. About 4 seconds between them. And there was only about 1.5 seconds when they pitted. So Rian's lost about 2.5 seconds. Look at how wet this is. And look at the Haas getting in the way there. Just about sees the lead coming through. But look how treacherous these conditions are. From what I can gather, the rain may be passing. It might not be full wet for long. It could be passing heavy rain. That's the information that I've just been told here from one of the stewards here. So there's only a couple of cars still out on track on the Inters. Interestingly, Pete, who's now up to 4th in the Alfa Romeo, has stayed on the intermediates. Despite, there's a McLaren off.
That is Thomas Edwards.
It was indeed, yes. Thomas Edwards spun at the chicane. So just about avoids him. There's a Renault right up behind Pete as well. I'm trying to see who that is. I think that's Kieran who's on the full wets. But if it is just a passing shower, if he can keep a reasonable pace here, Pete, he might be able to gain a few places. He's only 7 seconds behind Hubert, and he's only about 11 seconds behind Rian Fori. And of course, if they've both got to stop again to go back onto the intermediates, he won't have to, because he's already on lead by 4.5 seconds from Rian. We've got Hubert 3rd. We've got Pete in 4th, still on the intermediates, of course. We've got 5th place, we've got Bryce in the Toro Rosso. And in 6th, we have Ricard, who's also on the intermediate tyres, but he's now got David Edger right behind him, who's on the full wet. So let's see if I can find that. There we see this battle now. 5th and 7th. As Jarvis has overtaken Joe, moving up into 8th place. You can see the Haas really... Oh! The Renault's in the wall. David Edger's gone into the wall. He's spun coming out of the first chicane on the track, and he has got front wing damage now. So that's released the pressure of Ricard.
Oh, and
David Edger just slid into the wall.
Yeah. So Marvel Rogers is in 8th place. The biggest winner here so far in this race has gained up 7 positions from 15th on the grid.
This is the thing around here sometimes. If you can just keep yourself out of trouble, it can work. Jarvis is in the pits. Is he putting... he's on us for another set of inters.
What's he doing?
And he's going very slowly.
Why is he going very slowly?
He's going very slowly. I think he was trying to let the leader through. I think that's what he's doing. He's in the wall. I think these intermediates are starting to struggle on the inters. I really think the inters are starting to fade. It's getting so wet out there.
Yeah, he does have to avoid passing cars. I don't know what's happening.
And Jarvis has left. I think David Edge is in the pits from 7th. We saw him spinning into the wall earlier. So he's going to have to pit now. Pete, though, we've got to say, in 5th place, he's doing a fine job. He's now caught Bryce, less than a second behind him. And Bryce is on the full wet. Pete on the intermediates. I think he might have actually just lost a place, but he's coming back at him. But
yeah, definitely.
The David Edge is interestingly gone back onto intermediates.
It doesn't seem like the conditions for intermediates right now. That's the thing. It will be an interesting gamble for him if he can keep it on the track.
That's the thing. I mean, when you look at the racing line, I mean, I'm looking at I'm watching Pete at the moment. On the racing line, I think the inters will just about clear enough water. It's just if you skate that little bit wide and get onto the standing water that's around the edge of the tracks, that is when you're going to struggle. So the inters will really struggle with that. I mean, I'm looking at Pete now. Look at the water on the back straight there. I mean, there is so much water offline that I think he's going to struggle to keep that on the track if he hits it.
Yeah, and we're just before around halfway through the race. So this will be more interesting because Bryce Faulkner has gained up 3 positions from his starting grid position as Jarvis peels back into the pits, I think, to retire. Or maybe pit again because I think he's pit again. He's pit again to the wet tyres again.
I think he had front wing damage as well after crashing into the wall coming out the pits.
Yep, the closest battle right now is Johnny Davis and Andy with the Haas and Alfa Romeo. 7 tenths behind Super Shippy Andy for him.
This will be going to be close, and they're only 7 seconds behind Fraser, who's currently in the final points-paying position in 10th place. So, got to say, Fraser timed the pit stops well. He was running in 13th before the pit stops, and he was the first car to go onto the full wets, and it's definitely benefited him. He's up into the final points-paying position at the moment in 10th.
Yeah, looking on the
Willem,
for Johnny Davis, you can't see anything. It's just basically smoke for all the cars. It seems like the rain is getting heavier, not passing rain anymore. So for the guys that picked up intermediates after their stint on the wet tyres, it seems like it hasn't worked because it seems like the rain is going heavier and heavier.
Well, I mean, we've only got 3 cars on the intermediates at the moment, and they are all falling back at the moment. They're 5th, 6th and 7th. And there's a yellow flag in Sector 3, I'm not quite sure. I think it might be David Edge has gone.
Yep, David Edge.
I think it's David Edger.
Yep, it's David Edger.
Yes, he spun it coming out the hairpin. I said they were 5th, 6th and 7th. David Edge has now dropped to 8th. So I think he's got front wing damage again. I think, yes, he has. The left front of the left side of his front wing is damaged, so he will.
And of course, one of the intermediate runners as he peels back into the pits.
I think he would surely go onto the full wets now, because as you say, I think the rain's getting heavier and heavier. Meanwhile, out the front, William is up to a 6.5 second lead now. He's pulling away from Rian Fori, who was keeping pace with him in the early stages of the race. Now definitely he's falling back. We're on lap 18, just over halfway.
Yep. Seems like everyone in the top 5 is gone, except for Pete Maloney. He's still on the intermediate tyre. Very, very big risk for him because he seems to be slowing down and seems to be going at a crawl pace as he just and he just crashes into the World Champions as Pete Maloney does. Very, very struggling on the intermediate tyre.
I was just going to say, he's actually sort of hanging on. He was still just about keeping about 2.5 seconds back from Bryce ahead of him in the Toro Rosso. I've got to say, Bryce is actually having a very good race, up in 4th. But he was sort of hanging on. But yes, he's getting to the point now where even the Inters, I think, are going to struggle with this, even on the racing line. So you can see the racing line is sort of almost disappearing now. The rain is getting so heavy. I think these Inters are really going to struggle. Willem leads by 6 seconds. Rian Fori just about clawing the gap down a little bit. Hubert is 3rd, just under 3 seconds behind that in the Ferrari. Bryce having a fantastic race in 4th in the Toro Rosso. We've got Pete in 5th, but we think he's got front wing damage. We've got the Haas of Ricard in 6th, also on intermediate tyres. In 7th place, we've got Joe in the McLaren. In 8th, we've hardly spoken about him. We've got Neil in 8th place now for Racing Point. David Edger is 9th. He's gone on to another set of intermediates, and he clearly feels...
I certainly don't feel like it's time for intermediates. I certainly don't feel like it's time for intermediates.
Maybe he's been told that the rain is clearing, and maybe he can do it from there. And then in the last points paying position at the moment is Fraser in the Williams. We've seen he's got a penalty, but he's only 12 seconds. He's actually catching David Edger, and he's about 8 seconds clear of Mr. Schmee in the Haas, or Johnny in the Haas. So
yeah, of course, David Edger is on the intermediate tyres, and there's yellow flags in sector 1. Oh, I think it's the Haas of...
Yes, it's Johnny. It's Johnny. He spun down into the chicane, so he's recovered, but he's lost a place. He's dropped behind Jarvis now into 13th place. He was catching Andy, but now he's dropped a place to 13th behind Jarvis. So Jarvis now is only 1.3 seconds behind Andy in that battle there for 11th place. And also catching them at the moment is Kieran in 14th in the Renault. He too is also catching that little threesome, so that should be a good little fight to watch later on in the race. That's the McLaren off. Sorry, I just literally was flicking through and I saw the McLaren lose it. That is Thomas Edwards in last place. He lost the back end of the car coming through the fast right-hander before the second chicane, and he's now hit the wall. I'm not sure if he's got any damage. It looked like a piece of the floor actually came off. And yes, look, he's really struggling now on those full wets though.
He might be one,
but I think he's...
Oh my gosh, okay. Yes, I think Hubert is actually catching the young Foray. Oh, and there's another yellow flag in sector 1. Who could that be?
Could be a back marker letting a leader through, but yes, Willem is still 6 seconds clear of Rian, but only 2 seconds now separate Rian and Hubert in the battle for second position. So the Ferrari is definitely catching the Red Bull. They're comfortably clear of the rest of the field at the moment because Bryce is over 22 seconds behind that in 4th place. So this is the fight to watch as Hubert gets a penalty. I did see him just slip wide there, and he went over the curve a little bit too much. It is so easy to do in these conditions.
Yeah, very, very
so easy to it's a little bit wet. You go onto the standing water on the edge of the track and you slide wide, and unfortunately with strict corner cuttings on, that is going to happen all the time. I'm interested to watch David Edger in 9th place. He is dropping back, but he's still maintaining a reasonable pace on those intermediates. Fraser is catching him. He's taken about a second and a half out of him in the last lap, but David Edger at the moment is in 9th place. He's 15 seconds behind Neil in the Racing Point. Such a shame though for David. He was up in 6th at one point looking good, and then he's made a couple of errors on those inters. He's kept with the inters, but he's made a couple of errors with them, and it's seen him drop back into 9th place. He's being caught by Fraser quite quick, so I reckon that could be another good little fight to watch toward the end of the race. But the gap now, the top 3 are closing up on each other now. Willem is leading by under 6 seconds from Rian Foray. It was a second and a half between Rian and Hubert. That is, well, if those 3 can start catching each other, That would be incredible.
Yeah, Hubert is really pushing hard to catch Riaforo, as you can see from the 3-second time penalty from the last lap. And of course, these are the closest battles for the top 3. But as we can see in 13th place, Andy Shippy is catching up to Johnny Davis, Mr. Shmee. But as you can tell, the focus is on the top 3, with Hubert catching up to Riaforo in the Red Bull.
And also just behind them as well, of course, is Kieran in the Renault. He's also catching up to them. Like we said earlier, a penalty there for Neil in 8th position. Don't really read too much. Like I said earlier, can't really read too much into the penalties here this afternoon with how slippery the conditions are. Willem has pulled gap back out again to 6.6 seconds. So it does look like just these two here fighting right now. Rian Foray in 2nd position and Hubert in 3rd. They're a 1.5 apart. Bryce is 4th. He's got a 5-second gap over Pete. I've got to say, Pete's done well on those inters.
Yeah,
keep the car on the road. He's only 5 seconds down, and if he does go back to Inter, and it does look like the rain has eased a little bit. It's not quite as he's not hammering down as hard as it was earlier on. So if it does end up going back to intermediate conditions, he could be in a good position. And I have to say, at the moment, he's actually catching.
And the McLaren has spun. The McLaren has spun. Joe Perry. Oh.
Yes, and that's is that Willem?
Yeah, Willem is crashing into the McLaren.
Unbelievable! Willem has crashed into one of the man markers. He's lost half his front wing. Wow! Willem was up front. He had it all in his pocket, and now he's lost half his front wing. He's surely going to have to pin. He can't keep up with that, surely. But now look at Rian Foray right behind him, and Hubert as well has caught right up. Now, thanks. Well, I think Williams just holding up Rian a little bit. But and Bryce is in the pits. Bryce pits. I think he might be going to the Inters.
Oh my gosh, this is a three-way battle. Oh, Hubert tries to go for the switchback move, can't really make it, as Willem does need to go to the pits. So he does have a low front wing damage. He can't possibly hold Rian Foray back. This is a madness race. Of course, the McLaren backmarker did spin.
And Willem is carrying on.
This is interesting.
Willem is carrying on. There's a yellow flag in sector 2, and there's a McLaren in the wall. That's Joe.
Again.
Joe has spun again. So Joe into the wall at the 3rd of the chicanes round here. He has now lost the place to David Edger, and Fraser McKenzie moves up into 9th place. Jarvis is going to take 10th, I think. Yes, he does. So Joe is going very slowly, but Joe spun again. I saw the yellow flag, and I thought there might be someone in the wall, and there is.
Yeah, focusing on the top 3.
Focusing
on the top 3, and Hubert goes down the inside of Rian Foray.
Oh, that was brave.
Oh,
that was brave. Rian Foray. So hang on, Hubert's hanging around the outside. This is great between these two.
Oh, and it's real.
Who's going to be the bravest? Hubert's on the racing line. He should have a little bit more grip. Hubert's braking so late. He made him stick. He made that stick round the outside. How did he brake? How did he slow that down in time?
He did cut the corner slightly.
He's got a second lead.
But he does have front wing damage.
I think he did, but I mean that was a brilliant. I mean that was brave around the outside there. I mean to hang on to that.
Very brave. Willem Murray does have front wing damage, so I don't know how he can keep up with Hubert, especially with that wonderful.
Oh, and Fraser in the pits.
Fraser's back in the pits.
Sorry, can't cross you, but we saw Fraser. We saw Fraser up into 9th, and he is now in the pits. He's made another pit stop, so it's dropped him out of the top 10. He was up into 9th. He's out of the top 10 altogether now.
Yep, focusing on the top 3 once again. Under 2 seconds for these top 3 guys. This is an exciting race. As Hubert catches back up to Willem Murray, 6 tenths behind Willem, as the same for Rian Foray.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're getting close to the point, where Inters might be the way, because if you look at 4th place here, Pete, he is actually closing up. It could be cause the damage to Willem, but he is just slightly closing the gap. He's on those intermediate sides. Hubert runs wide. He's cut the chicane again, but so did Rian Foray behind him. He also cut the corner as well. But that Alfa Romeo in 4th place is just starting to close that gap back down again. Could we be looking? Willem goes right, a little bit of a touch from Hubert, but Willem will get a good run out of the hairpin. From running a little bit wide. Hubert, I think, just lost himself a bit of time there. Got a little bit excited of seeing the leader running wide. But Willem, they're throwing it all at him, and he's still out front. He had a 6-second lead. Of course, he's lost that. Thanks to the...
nearly spins out in the last chicane.
Oh, look at Hubert. Hubert's getting very close indeed to the back of Willem. He's trying to go around the outside. Willem's running very wide. And Hubert takes the lead. Willem, there's no way he's going to be able to hold on to that. Hubert takes the lead. He put him under pressure. I saw how close they were, and Willem had to brake late. And of course, with that damage, it was inevitable. He wasn't quite going to hang on to it into turn 1. He didn't quite have the full turning capability if he had a full front wing.
Yep, definitely.
So Hubert, who's been kind of the dark horse in this a little bit, been a little way off the pace all the way through the race so far. He now takes the lead, and now with no damage on his car at all, I think Willem's going to defend as hard as he can for second. Hubert's looking good now. 9 laps to go after this one on lap 26, and Hubert from nowhere is suddenly in the lead of the race.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yellow flag in sector 1. Not quite sure who that would be. I'm just trying to flick through. There is a car going slowly. I'm trying to see who it is. I think it is a... Yeah, I think it's the Racing Point of Neil in 7th place. They are starting to go back to Inters. Joe in the McLaren somehow still in the points, despite all the incidents he's had. He's in the top 10.
Yeah, this is definitely interesting.
But somehow he's in the top 10 despite all the incidents that he's had.
Yeah,
he's hanging on there, but they are all starting to go back onto Inters now, so I think Inters could be the way to go. Fraser's made another stop and has come out in 13th.
Okay, Ricard goes down the inside
on
of the chicane. Ricard goes down the inside of the chicane of Bryce Faulkner and makes the move stick.
Yes, Rian Foray's made a stop. He's in 3rd place, and there's another yellow flag in sector 3. That's a McLaren out of the race.
Gee.
That's Thomas Edwards retired from the race. We've had so many incidents from him, but he is out of the race now. So Hubert leads now by 5 seconds from Willem. This is a dilemma for them. What do? Do they keep him out, or do they go on to the set of Inters? Hubert is carrying on, and he's pulling away very, very quickly. Willem pits. Willem pits from second. He will, well, I think they'll probably change the front wing on that Mercedes as well, which I think will drop him. Yes, they are. So Willem will drop behind Rian Foray, who's just coming through the last chicane now. So, quite close. But Hubert is in the lead by some 19 seconds. Well, what do they do here? Do they keep him out? Do they take the risk? I mean, this is a difficult one. There's a virtual safety car. There is a virtual safety car on track. I think that might be for the McLaren that spun out earlier on.
Yeah, that made Rory slow down slightly and gave Willem a slightly more closer gap to catch up to Willem. And Willem
virtual safety car ends very, very quickly. I was going to say, if it stays down for a while, it might be worth Hubert pitting, because of course you save so much time pitting under a virtual safety car. But he's got a 18-second lead. If he pits, it's going to be close. 7 laps to go. The rate that Rian Foray's catched him already, I think it might be worth him just pitting and coming out in second place. But top 10 very, very quickly. Hubert leads from Rian Foray. Willem is 3rd. Pete is 4th in the Alfa Romeo. Then we got Ricard in 5th, somehow still there in the hat despite all the things. And yes, the leader does pit. Hubert does pit. We've got Bryce in 6th, Neil 7th. Hardly seen him, but he's in 7th place in the Racing Point. David Edger is 8th in the Renault. Jarvis is 9th, and Joe again somehow is hanging on to 9th, 10th, and the last point in the McLaren. We've got Fraser in 11th. Kieran is 12th, having a good battle with Fraser. Willem gets a penalty. Willem does get a penalty for that. That's the final chicane. Does he take second? No, Hubert. Hubert has nearly pushed off the track, but Hubert has just found Rian Foray taking the lead. Hubert was taken out there almost by one of the Alphas, and that gave Rian Foray the opportunity he needed to dive through and take the lead. This is going to be a good battle now between these two, right up to the end of the race.
This is going to definitely. As Andy looks, we are Hubert again, and that's made his life so much more difficult. So definitely seems like there will be penalties for the Alfa Romeo Andy.
He lets the leader go and immediately lets Hubert go as well. Hubert's actually got the gap back down to less than. Oh, I thought there was contact there. I think Fraser might have just pressed pause at the right time, because otherwise he'd have been skating into the side of Hubert. But Rian Foray leads the race from Hubert. Rian Foray leads by 1.5 seconds from Willem. We've got Pete in 4th. As they come through on lap 30 now of 35. And I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but Rian Foray appears to have lost places. It's saying here at the moment that the Alfa Romeo leads. I'm not quite sure if there's definitely some connection problems here. I think the computer's trying to sort itself out. I think I have lost my co-commentator here, but according to this, Rian Foray is leading from Hubert, and Willem is in 3rd place ahead of Pete. And then we got the Haas in 5th place of Ricard ahead of Bryce. Neil 7th, David Edger is 8th, Jarvis is 9th, and Joe is in 10th place. We're about to start lap 31. Rian Foray leads the race from Hubert. You can see the gap is not that big here.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just got disconnected from the session. I'll be joining back in very, very soon. It seems like I can't join the session apparently.
I think there is some technical difficulty here, because the positions are jumping around all over the place at the moment, because it's now saying Willem is leading, but I can definitely see that Rian Foray is leading.
Yeah. Oh well. I need to get.
There are some definite technical. Everyone's starting to leave the session. I think there are definite technical issues here.
Yeah, I've been kicked from the session. I think. What? Okay.
But it's been a fantastic race. Action up and down the field. Everywhere you've gone, there's been action and overtakes, and it's been absolutely brilliant so far. I just hope we can see these last few laps and not have technical issues.
What's happened though? There are technical issues happening. I don't know what to do. Yeah, there is definitely migrating host. Right, we do need to get everybody back in the lobby. So, yeah.
Yes, according to the screen of what I can see, I can only tell you what I can see on screen. Willem is leading by 7.5 seconds from Pete, but I think Rian Foray is leading from Hubert. According to this, they are down in 7th and 8th. I'm sure those two are currently leading the race.
Okay,
the Haas
back in the session.
3rd and Bryce 4th, according to this. Neil, well, hardly seen Neil all race long, but according to this, he's up into 5th place in that racing point. He's kept himself out of trouble, and he's up into 5th. So, and Joe, despite the spins and accidents that we've seen, I think there'll be definitely words between him and Willem after the race, but he's in 6th in the McLaren. Rian Foray, I think, is 7th, and Hubert is 8th. David Edger is 9th in the Renault, and Jarvis is 10th. We're on lap 32 now out of 35. Willem leads by 8 seconds from Pete, who again, we've hardly seen, but he's up into 2nd place in that Alfa Romeo. Great drive from him, and I've got to say a good drive as well from Bryce in 4th. Rickard, he was up there with the leaders to start with, made a couple of errors, but he's into 3rd place. Another yellow flag in the final sector. I think that is the Haas, I believe.
What's happening? Rickard is peeled into the pits, and that's
Rickard into the pits.
That's promoted
from 4th
back up to
onto a podium position.
That is interesting. It's sad for Hubert and Rian Foray for not fighting against each other. It's really sad that we had to have technical difficulties. So, oh well. So, really sad.
So Willem leads, yes, by 8 seconds. It's been a great race. I mean, like we said earlier, the rain really does throw the cat amongst the pigeons here. Willem actually says fastest lap now, 1:20.8. That's a good lap time here in these conditions. Willem now is pulling away very, very quickly. Onto the penultimate lap now, lap 34. Willem from Pete, from Bryce in 3rd, Rickard 4th. Neil, I still can't get over it. He's in 5th place at that racing point. Joe is 6th, Rian Foray is 7th, Hubert 8th, David Edge 9th, and Jarvis in 10th place.
Who did give?
Here we see Joe. Here we see Joe and Neil getting very, very close. Neil just about hanging on, very, very tight. I thought Joe was going to go for that. Just about saw him coming at the last second and moved out of the way.
Oh,
so these two here fighting over 5th place, and here goes Joe again round the outside. This is going to be a brave. Oh, a little bit of contact down the back straight. Neil should have good straight line speed in that racing point with the Mercedes engine. They're still hanging on. There's contact, and Neil spun. Joe goes through and takes 5th. Can Neil hang? Yes, Neil does hang on to 6th. Rian Foray is catching him very, very quickly as Joe runs a little bit wide. Yeah, but here is Willem. He's about to start his final lap. What a race he's driven. He's led it almost all the way through. Another fastest lap here right on the second to last lap. He's led it almost all the way through from the start. He had that incident with Joe earlier on, which cost him half his front wing, but he's kept his head. And when he pitted for the Inters halfway through the race, it was exactly the right moment. They changed that front wing, and this is the result. Pete as well, we said earlier on, if you look out for Pete on those Inters, he was on them for quite a long time, and it's definitely given him his reward. He's up into 2nd place. Bryce, amazingly, is still on the full wets in 3rd place. He hasn't pitted from the full wets to the Inters. Rickard up to 4th. Neil is up to 5th. Joe has dropped. He's dropping down the order. Joe spun again, I think. Yes, there he is. Joe at the 2nd chicane has spun. So Joe, he was up to 5th, but he's now out of the race. And Willem now coming up to the final straight for the final time. What a drive he's had. From pole position, he took pole right at Ryan Foray looked like he was going to take it, and Willem took it from him. And Willem wins in Canada. What a drive from him. He takes the checkered flag. Pete, you got to say, great drive from him. Good tactics. Stayed on the right tyres for as long as he possibly could, and has ended up just about taking second place in the Alfa Romeo. Great drive from him. Here is Bryce, a long way back. He's somehow hung on those full wets. He's only 7 seconds clear of Ricard, but those full wets will just about hang on. There is Ricard catching him extremely quickly. The Mercedes up the inside of him, but he will lap him quite easily. That's Jarvis back in 10th.
Yeah.
But
okay. Yeah.
Great drive for Bryce.
Yeah, Matt, who do you think will be driver of the day for today?
Couple of candidates, I would say. I mean, you've got to say Willem up front, but I'm actually going to give it to Bryce, coming home at the moment in third. Kept his head, kept out of trouble, and has made those wet tyres last. And he's ended up bringing it home on the podium. So for me, driver of the day is Bryce in third place.
Yep, well done Bryce for getting up to the podium. It's sad for Huber and Ryan Foray for not completing the podium, especially when they were having a great battle up front. But it is a 6th and 7th for Foray and Huber.
Yes, Neil crosses the line. Good drive from him as well in 5th. But with his penalties, he actually finishes 6th. So Ryan Foray does snatch 5th right at the end thanks to the penalties. So, wow, what a race we had there. Incidents, left, right and centre, accidents, spins. And some great battles out front. Great drive from Willem though. Car number 66. Fit the checkered flag. And it was a brilliant race. So,
yep, I just invited all the people on the podium. Hopefully they will join. Remember guys, tick the box to include your audio in the broadcast.
And here we see the final race order. Willem wins from Pete. Bryce 3rd. Ricard 4th. Ryan Foray 5th from Neil. Hubert 7th in the Ferrari. 8th for Joe somehow, despite all the incidents he had. He actually had no penalties either. David Edger in 9th. And in 10th place, the final point for Haas goes to Johnny Davis. Jarvis 11th. Kieran in 12th in the Renault. 13th for Andy in the Alfa Romeo. 14th for Fraser in the end. He was unlucky because he did very, very well. And the only retirement of the race, amazingly, despite all the accidents, there was Thomas Edwards in the McLaren. He finished last. So now we have, I believe, the top 3 in the chat.
Yep,
so
guys, first of all, remember to tick the box for broadcast in the party, so you get your audio included into the broadcast. So remember to tick the box of include my audio. So yeah, just remember to do that. I need to tell MB Soccer to do that as well because he's just connecting into the lobby, into party.
Cool, excellent. So I'm trying to see. Willem, are you in here or are you still connecting?
Yeah, Willem's still connecting as MB Soccer.
Okay, so I will start with Pete for the Alfa Romeo. Great drive from you, Pete. You must be delighted to come home in second.
Oh, that was an excellent run. It was some good racing in there. I really pushed. I waited through one stop on the last tires. I ran 20-some laps on the last set intermediates, and it just held up and was able to stay in front.
Yeah, I mean, we saw you in the middle of the race. You stayed on those intermediate tyres despite the rain coming down heavier and heavier. Were you tempted to go to full wets, or was it always inters for you?
It crossed my mind for a second, but I figured with the time that I would lose with the tires then versus the pit stop, if I could just maintain, I'd probably be pretty well off, and it worked out.
It certainly did indeed. I mean, it was a great drive from you. Gonna see if now I can actually talk to the other two. They still look like they're connecting, unfortunately, at the moment. But
Shout out to Willem though. He had a great race. He had a very strong run.
Were you expecting to get? Were you hoping for a podium here today, Pete?
I wasn't sure, being this is the kind of the first run of this league. I figured I'd be top half. I was really hoping for a podium, and I think with that strong run, I think I can continue that, and hopefully you'll be talking to you guys quite a bit here through the season.
Hopefully it would be good. Yeah, it's a cracking race and good points as well for Alfa Romeo. I think the top two are struggling to connect, unfortunately, so I don't think we're going to quite be able to chat to them.
Bryce.
I think Bryce might be in it. Bryce, are you in?
No, he's still connecting again. Matt, invite them, because I don't think it works when I invite these two people.
I'm going to try one more time to. I'm not totally sure they're going to be. Bryce, are you in? Bryce? I don't think he's in, unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to talk to our winner or our third place here this evening. No, I don't think we are, unfortunately. So, but anyway, thank you very much this evening for Jabaloo for joining me in the commentary box. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate next to you this evening.
Yep. Thank you very much. Very, very exciting race. Sadly, there was some connection issues hindering the standings. So hopefully to see guys next time in France for the French Grand Prix.
Indeed, and yes, and we'll hopefully see you again same time.